afternoon. It is about 6 p.m. Tuesday, March 2nd of 2021. I am going to make sure I have some of you guys on here. So let's see what I got going on. I'll make a question. Just want to go over a few things today with you guys. Of course, we know about Governor Greg Abbott with his newest executive order that came out today. And so I'm going to kind of touch on a little bit about that. And I'm also going to touch on some things with our COVID vaccine going on this week. And so let me say hello. Can you see and hear me? Yay, Miss Baragon, she said. Thank you. She's the first one up. Good job. Thank you, Miss Baragon. We can hear you, and hopefully you can see me. So again, this is Gilroy Madrid at Fort Stockton ISD in Fort Stockton, Texas. Just going to go over a few things that happened today with the governor who came out with his new executive order number 32. I'm going to go over that with you guys a little bit. I'm also going to share with you a link to the actual video press conference, which was in Lubbock, Texas today, I believe at 1:30. And so I do want to also shout out to Mrs. Salazar, who said, yes, she can hear and see me. So thank you very much. Frankie's always on there. Thank you, Frankie, for being with us today. I do appreciate you and the support you guys are giving the schools and all the things you do to keep our schools ready. So thank you very much, those of you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I put some links on here. I'm going to share my screen that I have on the other side. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 links. And so I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see it. Add to stream. Okay, so if you notice, there are 4 links. The first one is a link to a video, which I did put in the YouTube video, Facebook. I'm not too sure if it shows up on Twitter, but that is a link to the just a YouTube stream video from the Governor Greg Abbott's speech today in Lubbock, Texas, as he announced his new executive order. And then the second link is I'm going to go over the executive order itself. And then the third link is just all of it, Governor Greg Abbott's executive orders since he started with COVID-19. There's probably some other ones in there. The reason why that's in there is because there's some references in Executive Order 32 that you can find in this link here. And then there's a s'more that goes over the vaccine information. So thank you for being with us. Thank you, Ms. Rosemary Sanchez. I can always count on you for being on, watching with us and listening. So thank you very much. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over, if you click on this first link, the Greg Abbott link, it's a video. You don't have to do it now, because if you do it now, it's just a video from a press conference that Governor Greg Abbott did in Lubbock, Texas, that I believe in a Mexican restaurant somewhere in Lubbock. I've never eaten there before, but he does talk a little bit about it. So that is a link to that I just pull up on YouTube, that if you want to hear the governor, that's him talking about his new executive order. Okay. The next link is the executive order itself. And so I kind of highlighted some things. And I believe it's 34. It is not 32. It's 34. So I'm sorry. And the reason why I remember 32, because I think that's the last one posted. So it is 34. So it is not executive order number 32. But this is the, I'm going to see if I might change that afterwards. Okay. So executive order 32, which was the big thing today in Texas, was a lot of things that he went over. And so hopefully you can see the screen. And so there's some things in here that are related to schools. There's some things in here that are not related to schools. And so here's the first thing that is we need to keep an eye on. If you notice, this executive order starts at 12:01 a.m. on March 10th. Okay, 12:01 a.m. March 10th, which happens to be the Wednesday of spring break. Okay, so Tuesday night into Wednesday morning is when this executive order comes into place. Right now, we still have to stay with what we have with wearing masks and things like that. And so this is a statewide effective 12:01 a.m. on March 10th, 2021. So that's Wednesday during spring break for us here in Fort Stockton in our schools. And it is at 12:01 a.m., which is early Wednesday morning, going in from Tuesday night. So this is when this does take effect. Okay, so you can read the whole executive order in that link, but I just want to touch on some things for the schools. Individuals are strongly encouraged to wear face coverings over the nose and mouth wherever it is not feasible to maintain 6 feet of social distancing from another person not in the same household. Okay, so he's saying you're encouraged to do it, strongly encouraged to do it, but you don't have to. But no person may be required by any jurisdiction to wear or to mandate the wearing of a face covering. Now, jurisdiction is usually like some type of legal part, like a police, a judge, and so what have you. So, but there's some very confusing language in here. And so as far as schools, we have another meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock with Texas Education Agency that will know more late Thursday afternoon, probably going into Friday morning to know more what that means for school. So that paragraph is a little confusing. So individuals are strongly encouraged to wear face coverings over the nose and mouth where it is not feasible to maintain 6 feet of social distancing from another person not in the same household, but no person may be required by any jurisdiction to wear or to mandate the wearing of a face covering. Okay, so here, that's kind of interesting because I'll show you why here in a little bit. Okay, now it does say if they're an area with high hospitalizations, they may this order may not be in effect, but it tells you here there's a total of, which that just means you have to have a total hospital capacity that exceeds 15% with COVID-19. There's a link there that you can go to find that out, which hospitals that is. That's not anywhere. That's not Pecos County, where Fort Stockton ISD is at. And so here are some other interesting facts on this. It says businesses and other establishments may not be required to operate at less than 50% of total occupancy, with no operating limits allowed to be imposed on religious services, public and private schools, and institutions of higher education and childcare services. So let's read this again. Businesses and other establishments may not be required to operate. So you're not required to operate at less than 50%. So I guess you could operate at 50%, but you couldn't go less than that. With no operating limits allowed to be imposed on religious services. So there are no operating limits allowed on services or private and public schools. So it's kind of crazy. It says you can't go less than 50%, but then schools, the way I read it is it says they don't have to go by that rule either. And so there's probably a lot of questions about, well, what's school going to do? Are you guys going to open it up? Right now, we have another meeting on Thursday, and I'll go over that here in a little bit. So here's the next thing. It says no jurisdiction may impose a penalty of any kind for failure to wear a face covering or failure to mandate that customers or employees wear a face covering, except that a legally authorized official may act to enforce trespassing laws and remove violators at the request of the business establishment or other property owner. Okay, so what that means is this. And it means a property owner can ask for people to have their masks on for whatever reason. That is a right of a property owner. They can, if it's a private property, house, a business, it could even be schools, that if they request it. Now, I'm not saying we're doing that. I'm just saying it could be requested that you wear masks. We don't know yet. We don't know what Texas Education Agency is telling us to do. And I'll go over more of that here in a little bit. And here's the other thing. Every person, including individuals, businesses, and other legal entities, is strongly encouraged to use good faith efforts and available resources to follow the Texas Department of State Health Services health recommendations. Well, if you read those health recommendations, it's going to tell you we really encourage you to wear masks. So that's why it's kind of weird. It says nothing in this order precludes businesses or other establishments from requiring employees or customers to follow additional hygiene measures, okay, including the wearing of a face covering. So it's kind of weird, because if you notice, this is nothing this executive order precludes, and if you look up the word precludes, this is prevents from happening or making possible. So a business or establishment could require employees or customers to follow additional hygiene measures, which means including wearing of a face covering. So again, it says that you don't have to wear masks, but then it tells you in this order here that if you're a business or a establishment, you can require people to wear masks if you want. Very confusing. It's basically just giving people the option of doing what they want to do if it's a business or establishment or at your homes. And so now here's the funny thing. It says public schools may operate as provided by and under the minimum standard health protocols found in guidance issued by the Texas Education Agency. Private schools and institutions of higher education are encouraged to establish similar standards. So here's the crazy thing. The minimum standard health protocols are from December. So we have no new ones yet. And the new ones are supposed to come out Thursday at 3 o'clock, which is okay because for us in schools, that means when these rules come in place will be Monday, March 15th. Okay. So for schools now, outside of the world of things, that can be anywhere else. It can be entities. And I know Mr. Alexander with the city, the mayor, and Mr. Rodriguez at the city, they'll have to come up with things that is best for the city, and so will Judge Joe Schuster. So there's a lot of questions about what happened today, this afternoon. But if you read the executive order, it's and there's some information in there about jails and things like that. So it does also say that there's some executive orders that were rescinded and supersedes executive orders, and I must have put 32 because that was the last one I could find here. But nevertheless, this is Executive Order 34. All right, so that is the thing about schools. Public schools may operate as provided by under the minimum standard health protocols found in guidance issued by TEA. Our latest guidance was in December, and we won't know more till this Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So that's when we'll know more what's going on. So that is that part. Here is a link here that's got all the other executive orders. I guess I put 32 because I'm thinking in my mind that's what it is, but it looks like it was Executive Order 34 relating to the opening of Texas in response to the COVID-19 disaster. And I guess this was related to continued response to the COVID-19 disaster as Texas reopened. So 32 is there, but this one is actually Executive Order 34, which was issued today on March 2nd, 2021. Okay. That's where we're at. We do have a meeting with Texas Education Agency this Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't expect any answers because usually what happens is we get all this information and then we have to read it, go through it, and kind of figure it out and figure out what is best for our community here in Fort Stockton. All right, the next thing I want to share with you is the vaccine information here. There is a link to this SMORE, and the SMORE is just it's an online newsletter. And so we do have COVID vaccine updates. Make the screen a little bit bigger. It says Moderna second dose tomorrow for people who got it on February 3rd, 2021. March 3rd, 2021 is the doses when we have the doses at the hospital through the Pecos County Memorial Hospital. And then, so tomorrow, it's real simple. Moderna second doses from 9 a.m. to 12 for those who got the shot on February 3rd. And then in the afternoon from 12 to 4, it's first dose of anybody that is requesting to get those vaccines. If you want more questions, I'll show you or if you want more answers, I will show you where to get those answers. And then Thursday, March 4th, there's a second dose for Pfizer vaccines for the first dose of people that got on February 10th of 2021 at the Pecos County Civic Center from 9 a.m. to 12. That information is there. It's basically the same information as there. If you want to translate it, it doesn't let me translate it because I'm the owner of this SMORE. But if you get this SMORE, you can translate this part to English and Spanish, and you can make it bigger or smaller as well. There are the links here to go to the Pecos County Memorial Hospital website as well as their Facebook page. Information if you want to hear that information on KFST Radio, it's there. The Pioneers Facebook and the Pioneers webpage. This is just a map with that information there, where the Civic Center is at. It's right there. That is the address, 1618 Airport Drive, which is out by the golf course. All this green right here is the golf course. There is the airport right there. This is just information of Group A and 1B is described. It's not really, that was just something we've had on the newsletter for a while. This is a video of should you get the vaccine or not. Again, it's up to people to get their vaccines. I know how I feel about that, but everybody has to make a decision on what they feel is best for their family and for themselves. So, and then this here is a V-Safe after vaccination health checker. It's a pretty cool website that CDC's put together that kind of helps you give you some information about a health check after you've gotten the vaccine. It's just information there. There's a YouTube video to watch it. There's a link to the website. Just more information for anybody who wants it out there. Here's some information about the 2 types of doses. And if you click on this web page, if you click on this screen, it'll take you to the web page where this information is at. The big takeaway from this is the second dose for Moderna. It's usually 4 to 6 weeks after the first dose. Where Pfizer is about 3 to 6 weeks after your first dose. If you have any questions, please call your doctor, your medical provider, or the hospital if you have any more questions dealing with that type of information. So we do appreciate that. This is just a calendar for the end of the school year that I put on there because sometimes it helps for people to kind of calculate when they need to get their second dose, when they can't get it, vice versa. And then there's some COVID vaccine information here from Department of Health Services here in Texas, the CDC's website, and then just a Moderna vaccine, and then a COVID-19 TEA vaccine FAQ. So that is just there for anybody who wants to read it. We hope that you take advantage of that newsletter. And I believe, and that's going to bother me that I put Executive Order 32, but it's actually 34. I apologize for that. Well, good. That's all I have for today. You've been on with me for about 16 minutes, so I want to thank you for stop this part for being here with us and for your time. Hopefully you guys have any questions. I will tell you this, what I've learned through this whole process is that it is okay to ask the hospital, call your medical providers, ask them the questions that you may have in regards to your health. We always recommend that because you are the only ones who know what is really best for you and your health. Let me go ahead and do this. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Salazar. We do appreciate your support. That being said, there's about 38 people watching. 8 people have liked it. Thank you very much. With that being said, I am gone and out of here. It is about 6:16 p.m. Thank you very much and have a good evening.